Serenity? Serenity. It's just want to say, love using Padre, bro. Been like getting more familiar with the UI. It's always a little bit jarring just hopping on like a new platform, but it's sick, dude. Appreciate all the help answering questions and stuff. Well, have you been using Padre at all yet?
Oh hell yeah! It's funny because before this show that we had going on, I was hanging out in the shitcoin thread and popping in and out of coins using Padre. Made sure I got my 40K Padre to get that that whale discount. Yeah, so I plan on using it pretty much every day, all day.
It whale discount.
Yeah, I think if you hold 40K Padre tokens, you get a whale discount on your fees.
Oh no way. Do you know what it is?
I want to say you pay like 0.44%, but we have Serenity here to to write me if I'm wrong there.
Serenity there. Oh, you might have to push to talk if you're in the server. Oh, I see you go back on mute. Hmm. Yeah, weird. I know usually it's like the control button is push to talk, but you might have to set it if you hadn't yet.
Yeah, you
We'll
got to
see.
set it manually yourself to whatever key you like it on.
Dude, I had no idea there was a whale discount for Padre. I need to buy that like right now. Uh, that's awesome.
I think
But yeah,
Jake had posted a chart. I'm gonna try and find it and then pull it into VC chat.
ooh, hell yeah.
All right, there we go. So you see the what you hold and what your fees become.
Let's take a look here. Old discount on fees. Oh, dude. So 40,000, 45%. Yeah, that's actually insane. I don't know what the hell I've been doing. That's a no-brainer. For those who are joining, WAF just posted in VC chat. There's a table for depending on how many Padre tokens you hold, you get a discount on the fees. I think we're trying to get Serenity in here, mic wise. Um, yeah, I mean, if that stacks on top of the existing fee that we're paying of 0.8, like that's nothing.
Yeah, and if you're planning on doing volume, I mean, it's like a no-brainer. And then, as other people follow suit, I mean, that token price probably gonna rise as well, right? So it's like a win-win.
Dude, absolutely. I know it was talked about a lot in Wake and Jake today, but I'm definitely bullish. I mean, like, been doing a lot of volume over there. I need to port more in though, dude. I wish I like was hip to this literally a week ago. I've been trading the crap out of Arc, so I definitely would have loved to just have the Padre, and I've been on GMGN, which has like 1% fees, so definitely getting raked over there. Gotta make the shift. What's up,
I put.
Serenity? Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Oh, if Serenity's ready to talk, I'll let him talk. I was just gonna say I had initially ported over some funds once Mitch made the announcement, and then I just found myself like continually like adding more funds because I realized my volume was gonna pick up and I was gonna do more.
Yeah, thanks guys for the warm welcome and the kind words you were saying about the platform. Hope to make it as good as possible. And yeah, the discount does stack. So yeah, I think we ran it too cheap at the moment, but it is what it is. So you guys enjoy and hope you make more profits because of that.
Dude, appreciate it. And yeah, man, it's been awesome just like chatting with you. I mean, I was saying when you first joined, didn't have the mic set up. It's definitely like a little jarring at first whenever you use a new platform, but the more I've been using it, there's just so many features that I love about it. Like personally, my favorite feature is the dip buy where you can just slide the scaler down and you can visualize it. And like it is crazy how many places on limit orders don't have it visualized on the chart. Like I was used to pay doing limit orders on Jupiter swap, and they just like don't place it on the chart. The scale is really weird for pricing, so it's like exactly what I was looking for a limit order. It's just a nice slider with the price mark, and a lower fee than Jupe swap. Like it's dope.
Oh, you know what? I just noticed that. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of small quality of life features that you can add, and then discoverability becomes hard. But like for sure, we try and make it, just painless experience and uh, yeah, easy to do and place the trades you want.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I will say, I was like heartbroken hearing that NFT Nerds isn't around anymore. I was looking at it the other day, but that's like easily the most fun I've ever had trading NFTs. That was just like the spot. So, not to just turn this whole show into just a Padre, hype fest, but genuinely, just when I heard it was you guys behind that, and now this, it was like a no brainer. Like, had to check it out.
Yeah, competition is really fierce, and I like have to give it to the competitors. Like it's really good quality products right now, and it's hard to like really differentiate yourself. I don't think there's a single feature or like a single metric or something where you can really stand out. Just a lot of small things that need to add up. Yeah, sorry about NFT nerds, but it's been just like market has been too harsh on us for too many months or maybe even years at this point.
No apologies needed. I mean, I did not expect NFTs to have the comeback they're making right now, and we'll see how long it keeps it going. But just sick to have you guys back in the fold and iterating with us. But speaking of Padre, WAF, I know we usually talk about ordinals. We did a little sidebar and said let's broad market it. Right, there's just so many more things that are going on. So we'll definitely reserve a section of the show today to talk about ordinals and all that, but let me just hear your thoughts top of mind. I know we were briefly discussing just the FOMC broader market implications, so maybe we can start there cuz like Bitcoin's been selling off a lot following the JPOW deciding to slow down interest rates for 2025. The market's kind of been reacting to that. We have low volume, kind of just been sliding altogether. Solana got a bit of a pop today, so some coins are getting bid. But there's still a lot of fears as to like where we're at in the market. What's your read on everything, you know, amidst all of the FOMC fallout?
Well, I think we got the expected rate cut that everybody was counting on, the 25 basis point cut. But Powell's forward guidance. I guess the market didn't take too kindly about it because they were expecting 3 rate cuts next year. But now it's looking like 2. So I want to say like one. I think just my personal take on that is it was probably like a gross overreaction by the market because 25 basis points is really not gonna move the needle per se. But I think this kind of speaks to the market's concern regarding liquidity. And I think we sold off. I think we were just looking for a reason to sell off because we were probably overbought for quite a while, right? We were kind of up only, maybe not in every sector, but as a whole, like the Bitcoin hit 108, right? Um, and then we're entering a week where it's like very low volume. You got like liquidity hunting going on. Trying to like those leveraged traders, whether short or long. They're looking to stomp that out. I think. Um, and I just think it's kind of like a combination when the market wants to sell off. There's low volume. It's kind of really easy to move the price downwards, and that's what we got. Bitcoin sitting at like 93, 94 right now. Today we've had like a bounce in like the altcoin market. And I was looking at Bitcoin dominance. So don't necessarily believe altcoin season has really started yet because if you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, it looks like it's kind of like short term bottoming as well. So I kind of expect like a Bitcoin run again soon. And I'm not really sure how altcoins are going to, I guess, play a part in that. Like they might just chill, or they might go be along for the ride as well. But that's kind of like where we're at, really. I just think that there's like a lot of I want to say conflicting data out there that's making the market a little bit uneasy, and then we got low volume. We're entering the holiday season. You probably got people selling off just to take profit for the year, or selling some losses for tax purposes. We do have a new IRS tax laws coming into effect next year, which I don't think anyone's talking about. We could talk about that a little bit later, but that could also be the reason why there's some more selling now in 2024 before 2025 hits. So that's kind of like my how I'm viewing the market generally. It's sort of like at a reset right now, in my opinion. I think we're back to neutral, and I lean bullish anyway. So I think we could start like a new climb up after this little consolidation period.
Oh yeah, well said, Baf. And I want to chime in on that. Like, I'm a believer that you can't just have like the history of correlation mapped out. We've seen some interesting correlations over the history of crypto, at least since I've been trading it. Like, we've seen times where the stock market moves in tandem with crypto. We've seen it where there's an inverse relationship. We've seen correlated movements with the price of ETH and NFTs, inverse relationship. So like when people are calling for, oh, the alt cycle is going to stop when Bitcoin bottoms out and then goes up, it's like I definitely can see why people would think that, but I don't know if that's like as straightforward as it is, right? Because I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we saw Bitcoin getting close to its all-time high, and we also saw stuff like Pepe at all-time highs and Ripple at all-time highs. So like when you have all these things that were correlating, moving up at the same time, I don't think it necessarily has to be, oh yeah, Bitcoin's going to go down and therefore it's alt season. Like I think it's just crypto season and people being risk on in general. I think the FOMC statement is just spooky, and like you saw, that was across the board, across all markets. We were starting to pull back a little bit, but I'm in the same page as you, Af. Like I think that was just a healthy correction. I think it's going to shake out some people who were taking profit, who are going to be, clocking in gains before the end of the year. But I was personally just buying everything. At least everything that I believed in and wanted exposure to. Like it was just a great buying point. And something that I've really tried to hone in on recently is just look at like prices that other people have paid. We talk a lot about that with ordinals. When you see the price exposure of like, someone bought a puppet at point 0.4 and now it's at point 0.1, what a steal. So with a lot of these meme coins that were down like 50 to 70% in a week, I mean, I was just slamming the bid on a lot of things, candidly, at least projects that I really liked. So I just viewed it as a great buy opportunity. I'm not in the camp that it's going to be alt season with Bitcoin being down or whatever else. I'm just in the camp of I think there's so many people that want to buy crypto right now, specifically Bitcoin, that this is just a great time to buy any dips.
I mean, I love what you said there, and I also think there's a lot of people out there a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive, and are kind of trigger shy, and they won't pull the trigger on things that they felt that they had conviction on, and for some reason the price goes down, and that conviction seems to have gone away. And I think as long as you know what you like, and you're firm in your belief, and you feel comfortable buying the dip, when the dip happens, you will do well in this market. But you can't borrow like someone else's conviction on things. Like it has to be like your own conviction, in my opinion, because there's only so much copy trading you can do with somebody, right? Like at the end of the day, you have to believe in it yourself to to make it happen. And for me, um, I want to say probably my number one conviction during this dip was Solana. Like I just felt like the price of Solana when it went down to like 180 was like such a screaming buy. I mean, it's pretty much down 30% over the last month. We hit a high of 264, and we've come down to 180. I think today we had a nice little rebound. I think we're up to like 190. But I just feel like Solana is just incredibly cheap right now. And early in the year, when Bitcoin was rallying and kind of like leading the market, Solana was right there with Bitcoin. So I feel like as Bitcoin moves up, Solana's gonna move up quicker. I just felt like they were like the early movers in the cycle. And I agree, like, you know, there's so many different sectors in crypto. Nothing moves like complete type of correlation, whether it's inverse or together. You got meme coins moving and NFTs dumping and runes moving. Like there's so many different sectors and different types of cryptos, that nothing could move all together in unison. But I think Solana and Bitcoin seem to be pretty correlated at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Raf, and what a great conviction play, dude. I was like screaming at my self, you need to buy more Solana, and I was kind of unfortunately sitting there because I just wasn't as liquid as I wanted to be because I was very busy DCAing into some AI tokens. But yeah, I was just like moving around as much as I could. I was selling off a lot of stocks and buying Bitcoin. Also bought a little bit of Ethereum just because I'm like frequently on the base network trading virtual agents and stuff. But dude, it was just crazy. Like I usually just my exposure to majors is just flipping things and then accumulating more Solana, ETH, Bitcoin just through, flipping other projects. But completely agree with you. This was like such a holy crap, like let me actually take out fiat and just buy more because it was just such a discount.
Yeah, and then I want to say the other things I got into. Um, I mean, let's talk about the resurrection of ETH NFTs, man. Like that's been a story in and of itself. Like, I mean, we had Silva on, I want to say maybe like 3 weeks ago or so, and we just kind of did a rundown of some of these tokens, right? This is like before the Pudgy drop, and everything we talked about has ran up, right? Like we were talking about Doodles at like 2.7 or something like that, and now it's almost 7 ETH. I think it went over 7 ETH at one point. We got all these token teases for all these 2021 NFT projects that have come back. Um, and that's been a trade. I mean so I had to buy more ETH too. I had to like kind of get back on ETH too. Like I was making trades on Blur that I haven't made in I felt like years. Um, just buying some NFTs. I think the time to really make money has passed, but there's still a trade to be made there.
Oh, for sure, dude. There's definitely still a trade, and I mean, yeah, Doodles was staring us down the face. I was like debating buying it when I saw it at 3 and then 3.3 and then yeah, I think its peak was pretty close to 8 before the FOMC quelled stuff. But yeah, it's still holding at like 7 and I mean, I think Azuki is just going to be a super easy trade to be honest. And it's nice cuz it's an ecosystem with like a lot of different priced assets. So I've personally been playing the beans just because there's a little bit more liquidity there. And elementals I think are a great exposure for sort of like that mid tier price point. But something that I was thinking a lot about with the Doodles announcement is from the announcement actually coming out of the official token, all you had to do was just like buy a Doodle within the next 3 hours and you would have made money. It was like post the announcement, slow, and then just continued to go up. And the same thing happened with Pudgies, right? Because I remember I heard about the token announcement, and then those went up for like 11 days straight or something. So in terms of Azuki, a lot of it's already priced in because people are expecting the anime token. But as soon as it's like it's official, here's the due date, you're gonna just see people parking their liquidity there who aren't already. So I mean, if you have the liquidity available, I think it's a pretty easy trade. Just if you turn on notifications for Zagabond and you're there within the first 30 minutes, I think it's positive EV, right? It's not financial advice. Can't guarantee that's going to make money. I think that's just a slam dunk of a trade, just at least for short term momentum that's going to be pouring in. I'd imagine you start to see rare sales and other stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely eyeing up Azuki, trying to keep some liquidity available so that when the time is right, can just smash the buy on it. But not every collection is like that. I mean, I personally did try to sweep the floor of World of Women when they announced the token, and then very quickly I just sold out because I noticed the volume wasn't right for a token announcement. And like I briefly brought it up during Wake and Jake today. There's just going to be so many projects that come out now and are like, we're dropping a token because it costs them nothing to do that, right? It's super easy to launch a token nowadays, so you're gonna just see a ton of grifters come out and launch tokens. So it's really gonna be like the blue chip collections that are launching them that are gonna get that pump. But if you know where and when to deploy that capital, I think there's still some really good opportunities.
And I think that's the key right there is the blue chip collections. Like, because we all have long memories, right? Everyone could tell you, you don't even have to look like what was the high of an NFT back in 2021. You will already know, right? Like if there was a NFT out there that was sitting at over a 10 ETH floor, and now they're at like 1 ETH or whatever they're at, and they announce a token, you know that thing's gonna move, right? I think the playbook is pretty much obvious to everybody. So if you get in now in anticipation of a move or an announcement, you'll do fine. If you get in like within that first hour of an announcement, because it probably will run for a couple hours before it cools off, you'll also be fine. I think after the Doodles announcement by Burnt Toast, he did that not so subtle message about a token is coming. I swept some Genesis boxes and flipped them about an hour later. Jake did the same thing. I think Oslo did the same thing. Like we all had the same mindset. And they ran even higher than I thought they would. I think my first box I got it like under 0.03 ETH, and I think they ran up to like 0.14 like within probably 90 minutes. So I think there's going to be like opportunities like that everywhere. I think Azuki seems to have like found sort of like a baseline floor here in this 11, 12 area. So if they make an announcement and the floor is like 11, 12, I think, it could probably run another 50% to like about 18 ETH, I think. And then you have to like start factoring in, is it worth it to hold it or and get the anime drop, or just sell like right before the token comes out. That'll be like a personal call, I guess, depending on what price you got in on a particular Azuki. I'm using Azuki, but yeah, clearly you could get in on an Elemental or a Bean, or even like Bobu, or even like the jackets, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff that, we were talking about collector score. Apparently collector scores is like different multipliers and different amount of tokens in the Azuki, ecosystem that you could somehow benefit some more of a airdrop if you have like the right kind of secondary assets that goes along with the NFT.
Yeah. Super well said there, Waf. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's gonna be worth it to hold through the airdrop for most of these collections, particularly Azuki. I think it's just gonna be way too expensive for what they end up dropping. And I'll give my complete candid take. I don't like to give it publicly. I will send it in DMs to people. I'm a very anti Pengu person. I don't mean any disrespect to Pengu holders because, you guys cooked on Pudgy Penguins, and I think that was an amazing trade leading up to the airdrop. But I'm just like never a big hold through reveal kind of person. So I think that's just like the biggest analogy that's there in the space. Um, you usually see, or we used to see with NFTs, right? When there was a really hype mint in a collection, whenever the collection would reveal, it was always a dump on the reveal. And a lot of times the floor came back, right? Like Azuki is the perfect example because I think the floor was like 3 ETH, it dumped to like 1.6, and then just went straight up to like 10 ETH the day of. So a lot of times you do get the dump and then pump, but there almost is always like a dump. And we saw the same thing with Pengu, where Pengu's looking strong today. It's coming back, but at the time of the airdrop, it just dumped beforehand. And given the price that Penguins fell, I think they fell like 20 ETH from the lead up to the drop. So at the time, that was about $90,000. Or, sorry, $80,000. Most airdrops were right around there when it came out, and some below if you held on to your Pengu. So I always just see from an EV perspective, like it makes sense in my mind to just lock in the surefire gain. If you want to buy the dip after the token comes out, rebuy a little bit of Pengu or Azuki, whatever the coin is, I think it's just a safer way to play it. There obviously is that upside of like maybe it comes in at a crazy valuation and you do make more money, but purely from expected value, I think your highest expected value is if you sell the underlying asset before the airdrop. I know it's a generalization, but I'm just purely from probabilities perspective. I think your best play is to sell before the airdrop. That's my own personal strategy, and not naysaying anyone who does it otherwise. But just from the patterns that we've seen, and just over a large enough sample size I've looked at, I would say that's likely your best bet is to sell prior to the airdrop.
Yeah, I want to say probably 99 times out of 100, that's absolutely the right call. Um, Even if we take that back to like Bitcoin, the pre-runes, if you sold those pre-runes before runes came out, like that would have been the play. So I tend to agree with you. It's like those rare instances where, like, post reveal the floor price goes up. I think Azuki was like kind of like 1 out of 100 in terms of something like that playing out. Usually it goes the other way, right? The floor gets dropped. People are rolling the dice on a rare reveal. They don't get it. They floor the NFT. I don't know how well the anime token will do. Azuki is like definitely top tier. It's the one thing I could say about it. So if you do want to get in, maybe your entry price is let this whole thing play out, then pick up an Azuki. If it dumps like 50% from whatever the floor is at the time of the anime token release, that could be like your early entry into like the next Azuki cycle or something. Like if you're that much of a fan, you want to get in. But I would tend to agree with you. It's probably better to sell the run up than to hold through um, the token drop. Unless you are a holder already and you're in at like a completely different price point. But if you're playing it as a trade, I think that you have to complete the trade and sell.
Yeah, completely
I
agree. And go ahead, Asa.
I think it's really logical as well because like when there's like hype leading up to a token drop and something's pumping out of control, it's like you don't want to sell because you think it's going to go higher, but yeah, it does play out like that more often than not. So it's good to have that reminder. I need to remind myself to sell when there's that hype. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like it definitely can play out. It's just like locking in a surefire gain, I think, is a better probability. And there's so many ways to play it where like if you lock in the gain ahead of time, you have that liquidity then to buy the dump after. Um, Something like Azuki though, I mean, like I was saying, I think once they make that announcement, you're gonna have a couple hours to buy an Azuki before the hype hits, and it's such a hype project, and there's just so much nostalgia around it, and I do think a lot of people will adopt them as PFPs again. That I still think it's a great like momentum play, but yeah, I would definitely pick one up and then look to flip it for a few more ETH than I paid for. Maybe try to get some rares near the floor and flip those. So there's going to be tons of opportunity to buy them, and also put out some bids early if you want to, because like we know the token's coming. So if there's a slow week or something, or just in a another FOMC related event or something like that where the floor dips a little bit, could get a good entry. Um, but yeah, exactly what you're saying, Waf. I think those normal Zukis will probably run up close to 18 or 20, have the airdrop, then probably go sub 10. Like, I just don't see how the airdrop's going to even compete close to Pengu. They just don't have the infrastructure. Pengu's got, a huge, huge deal with Walmart and other stores where they're selling an actual product. Azuki, I know, wants to be an anime studio, but just like you can hear from the main companies that run anime studios, it's not like all smooth sailing over there. It's a very cutthroat business with small margins. So I just don't really see a valuation over $1 billion coming out for Azuki. I think at current prices, it's probably already too high for what they're at, but I don't doubt that it's going to run higher leading up to it. I just personally have zero interest in holding that through airdrop.
I agree with pretty much everything you said there. The only thing I would disagree with is once they officially announce the anime coin, like what day it's coming, I don't think you have a few hours to get to buy an Azuki or a sec whatever, an elemental or a bean. I think you have like a few minutes, and then within the first hour, like that floor could literally like increase by 40-50%. And so yeah, you probably make money after the first hour, but you're gonna pay a lot more, I think, after that first hour after the announcement. So if you get in like immediately after the announcement, like you could really cook.
Yeah, well said. So I mean, definitely turn notifications on, be glued in, and I mean, if you're like worried about missing it, you can definitely front run it now. Um, again, it's a lot of liquidity to tie up, so there's a chance the floor goes a little bit lower. That's where I love like Azuki Elementals, Beans. Like, there's lots of different ways to scale into this play at different bankrolls. If you got a huge bankroll, you can just buy Azukis and buy some more when the announcement comes out. But if not, you can buy the lower price collections and then add after the announcement if you want to make sure. But yeah, I definitely have some exposure already, just expecting that trade, but fully planning on just selling it once the volume hits.
Another thing I was looking at is like the Azuki Elementals right now. The floor price is at 1.52 ETH, and then you have the Elemental Beans are at like about 2 ETH. So you got about a half ETH difference there. So you could gamble on like trying to catch like an elemental spirit there, right? You could like play this game, run it up, and then sell as it goes up, and then buy into the beans and try and like catch a rare with some of your profits. You could do something like that too.
Yeah, that's a fun one, dude. I was thinking about that exact same thing because I saw beans like 2 weeks ago when that hamburgers project came out, and those were at like 1.6. And I was gonna cop one and didn't, but yeah, now they're at 2.2, and they're basically the same price as a just Zuki Elemental. So at that point, if you're just playing with gains there, and you can reveal a bean at the floor of elementals, you could definitely chance it because any tier can pull a legendary. So that'd be sick to just get a huge come up like that.
The other collection we were talking about was silver. Well, we talked about moonbirds, and we said we didn't see any sort of like catalyst for moonbirds, but they took off anyway, right? I mean, I think high tide lifts all boats in that respect. But then the other one that we were talking about, and this is the one I still find to be extremely intriguing to me, is Clonex. I think when we first spoke about it, they were sitting there at about 2.27. Currently, they're at 0.36, so nice little gain. I think they hit a high of 0.45 or 0.456 over the weekend. So um, nothing really going on besides pure speculation, right? We have Nike shutting down operations for artifacts in January 2025. One final release, and then they're gonna create a website, sort of like archiving, everything that Artifacts has done. And there's been talk on X about a community takeover, which I don't know how viable that is. Nike does own the IP to the collection. Nike has not made any like announcements or disclosed anything. I was looking through their press releases, through their 10 through their Ks, their 8K. No official announcements about what they plan on doing with their digital IP. But they are moving away from like digital delivery of things and trying to go back to what Nike normally is, like providing, gear for sports teams and stuff like that. So they're moving away from the whole digital scene. Um, their timing is definitely questionable, right? Because now the NFTs have taken off. They probably could have made a lot of money if they stuck to this. Um, but you know what? This is like another potential degenerate play out there that the speculation of community takeover or Nike somehow, going back on their decision, seeing what the market is now, if someone is really like in tune with the market. This could be like a super big win to buy a Clone X at this price, knowing that these things used to be over 20 ETH back in 2021.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I feel like someone's gonna figure out a way to pump it. That's why I bought a couple, because someone's gonna figure something out and pump it. That's why. Yeah, I'm playing along that gamble with you there.
Yeah, I am currently up to 6, full disclosure, and I'm still looking to buy more. I just think this is like one of those. We always talk about those asymmetric bets, and I just feel like this one is just like low risk. I mean, what could these things possibly go down to? I think
It can't really go lower. Yeah.
how much lower could they go down to? Back to 0.25, and these things could all run multiple ETH.
Like someone at Nike just has to be like, they're just gonna sweep the floor and come up with some Twitter posts and pump their own bags.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
honestly, I
mean,
really like this play.
I like it, guys. It's funny because I'm in some other groups that are saying similar sentiment. Um, and they're all just small groups of a couple traders. I don't want anyone to get worried. They're not in any other alpha groups. MVHQ is the only one. But yeah, I'm in a
Dare
group
you?
with a couple other. Yeah, I know. Hey, I told you it's just a couple of friends. But yeah, I have a few friends who were messaging me being like, I'm buying a bunch of Clonex. So I don't know. I guess there's just something in the air where everyone sees the value proposition there. I'd say like my one worry on that trade would be Nike is just a multi-billion-dollar company. So I know like when Penguins got bought out, Cole sold them for a few $1 million, which I think is a really great value just given the IP there. Nike being a multi-billion-dollar company, I can't really imagine them selling the company away for a couple $1 million because that's like literally nothing to them. So, unless it's just a really trusted partner, someone who maybe used to work for Nike or wants to take over it, or if they want to revive it. But I'm not sure if Nike wants to something that they've been affiliated with and have launched shoes for and all that stuff and now own. I don't know how it works. There's definitely a chance, but I guess I'm not like super duper convinced that they would sell unless it was just a crap ton of money. But even if someone offered Nike 5 mil, I think they would probably just say no because that's not really anything to them. So that'd be my biggest concern. But to your guys' point of just like community takeover or people doing stuff with them or keeping lore going or even just speculative plays, like I definitely think that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think just as a speculative play, there's like opportunity there, and then, of course, if there really was a community takeover or like a return of Nike, then that's like hitting a grand slam, right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Um, we're about halfway through the episode, Waf. Let's quickly just touch on our ordinals just for the familia that's here. Anything going on in Ordinals land? I personally don't have anything on my end, to be candid. I've just been like so off in AI land. I heard there's like an AI Ordinal that came out or a rune that came out, but I didn't even buy it just because the volume looked pretty crap. And I'm still just keeping an eye out on Wizards. So that was my half of the show, quick Ordinals overview, just to make sure we touch the segment. But if there's anything Ordinal and runes related that you have top of mind, would definitely love to get into it.
Let's start with runes. I mean, runes has been down like just so bad, right? Just god awful, right? It's been a terrible month. And I think when you think of runes, you think of uh, people wanted to like relabel runes as Bitcoin meme coins, right? And if you look at the meme coin market, like the meme coin market is also down really bad, right? I want to say runes probably peaked like mid-November in the last run. But if you look today, Ross, um, Billion Dollar Cat's up 27% today. Like today's the first day I see signs of life in the rune market. Like I wasn't trying to catch a falling knife because I didn't know how far down it could potentially fall. But if we see a couple of green days in a row, like I'll start feeling some positive vibes again. I mean, at these prices, I still love Billion Dollar Cat and Pups World Peace. I mean, Pups World Peace I think went down to 100 sats probably like 2 days ago. Now it's sitting at 135. It's up 11% today. Um, you know, Dog Go to the Moon still sitting at $738 million market cap. So that one's probably been holding like the most steady. Gizmo, that's one it's gotten beaten up, sitting at 18 sats, but it's up 5% today. So I have not like completely like stopped paying attention because I do think there will be a run up for runes, and similar to meme coins, like when these things go down, they go down really hard, but when they come up, they're gonna come up really hard too. I mean, even if you go back a few months ago, there was 1 month Pups did a 500% gain in 1 month. Same with Billion Dollar Cat. So for those things to happen again are not entirely out of the question. Has it been hard to hit the buy button while they've been going down? Yes, absolutely. Like I've just held. I haven't added. Um, and that's kind of like my play on runes right now. Like just sort of like the main ones, held my bags, didn't sell the blood. And that's what I think about runes. On to ordinals. I think Arnold's looking a lot healthier right now. We had some, I don't know, there's like some action on Quantum Cats last couple of days where it's only up to 0.247 floor, which is, pretty high, I want to say. Not sure if there's been like any like alpha leak there, maybe something to do with Taproot Wizards or something. I'm not really sure, but that's looking pretty solid. Bitcoin Puppets has been hovering in that 0.12 to 0.15 range. So it looks pretty solid. Still gets good volume. Node Monkey, same thing, but nothing's really standing out. Um, I want to say within that, but not the floors haven't crashed though, which is good. Um, on Natcats, the floor, like if you take a look at Natcats, I think the floor has been pretty steady. But if you look at the rares are pretty much all gone. Like the rares have been all bought up, and you really only could kind of catch a floor now at the price, and then the floor is kind of thin. So that's what I've been seeing on ordinals. Um, but yeah, that's probably it, Ross. I don't know if you have any questions on that.
I'll tell you what's down only. My fucking pizza
No, I
pets
agree
that
with everything you said.
I let die.
Can we have a Pizza Pets therapy session?
So I'm not sure.
They're all dead, bro. All of them. I let them die. I'm such a bad father.
Oh no.
Bro, you
Yeah.
got more of a stepfather vibe, Jinzo.
Oh yeah, I am a stepfather, bro. Trust me, stepbrother, stepfather. I usually fall well into those categories. But right now, as a real dad, I failed. I let them all fucking die overnight, bro. And I'm a bad father because I was feeding them fucking drugs. I fed them cocaine. I fed them steroids, and then I just let them die, bro.
You just wanted them to have a good time, man. I get it.
You know what I mean. They're here for a short time, and a good time, not a long time, bro. And you know
That's
what I mean.
it.
I should just fed them DMT so they could go out with a bang instead.
Bro, they had a fun time while they were there, you know? You gave them a good send off.
You know what? Maybe it's good that they're dead. They were costing me a lot of money, bro. Those transactions were not cheap.
Oh, dude, I'm sure. Uh, no, I think that's it on my end for runes and ordinals. Waf. I think you did a good touch on the space. I mean, obviously the thesis is always there, right? It's a really long risk exposure curve to people who want exposure to Bitcoin. So we need higher Bitcoin, we need better infrastructure. Both are in the works. So it's just one of those things that's sort of like day by day there might not be a lot happening, but it's always good to keep an eye on it. By now we know what the blue chip collections and ordinals and runes are, so it's just a matter of like, when is the market going to go into that banana zone? When are we going to start to see people taking on additional risk and trying to spread out their assets? Certainly something good to look at with NFTs coming back. If we get more NFTs coming, I mean, there was a time when like ordinals had major airdrop season. Like holders of puppets got a bunch of stuff dropped. RSIC got a bunch of stuff dropped. So like we could always go back to airdrop season. But for now, I think it's just keep an eye on it. I'm not personally doing much with them other than that. So appreciate the breakdown.
Yeah, no problem. I want to say like you just got to follow the liquidity, right? And right now that liquidity flow it's not in the Bitcoin ecosystem. It went to like ETH NFTs, I want to say, or like Solana has always been pretty liquid. So once you see that flow coming back in, like we'll raise the bat signal and like let everybody know like, hey, it's about to get hot. It's time to jump back in. But right now, it's coming off its winter season, man. It's been cold in the past 30 days in like the runes world, and it'll cook again. I have no doubt. On the pizza pets, if anyone has any pizza pets left, I know like there's a tool that you could like do all your transactions in one, so you could save on the fees. It was created by LIFO from Wizard of Ord. So if anyone still has any pizza pets, you should be doing all your transactions together in like one UTXO for like all your pets.
Wait,
Wait,
it saves you on fees?
say that again, Dizzy.
Like, can it save you on fees? Because I feel like I spend $50 to feed them all beer, like and to shower them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. This is solely to save on fees. You could do all your like transactions in like one transaction.
I need that. Awesome.
I'll find I guess the how to do it, and I'll send it to you after the show.
Yeah, thank you. Also, so we've got like tax loss harvesting season, right? So like, don't didn't like the previous bull run? Didn't we pump like crazy at the like in January, like, and everything kind of dumped in the December? So isn't it quite likely we see that again because we've got all these other really bullish catalysts? Sorry about my background noise, by the way.
I remember that too. I want to say that was like 2021 going to 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Where like everyone was just selling off everything, and then for tax purposes, and then 2022 we just went crazy. I want to say I think OpenSea volume was like a couple billion a day or something. It was something insane. Um, I do remember that. I don't know if that's gonna repeat, but I do remember that.
Just feels like we should be giga pumping right now. You know, like I feel like the tax loss thing is slowing it, and this government fud, but it just feels like next year is going to be the year. So, and like even looking at runes, like they're down cataclysmically, and I'm just like looking at it now, like I want to buy a couple just because they're just, you know, a lot of them are down 80% from their highs, and I feel like it's could be this tax loss harvesting thing. So, not saying throw in the farm, but you know, it's not a bad time if you ever did have conviction.
I agree because I mean, all right, I just mentioned billion dollar cap being up 27% today. Now it's up, 35% today. So if you had that conviction to buy while it was dipping, I mean, that's 35% right now in one day, So like there's definitely money to be had. I mean, the market caps are still small. We got the swap coming. Well, we had the swap, but we need like these they're gonna break down the different chunks of how much you could sell runes like in one shot in one transaction, right? Because some people they'll drop like 200Ks in runes in one transaction on the floor, right? And then people start undercutting, that one big transaction, and the floor price goes down. So they definitely need some updates on like from a technological standpoint, and then once we get that, there should be no reason why it can't swap and trade rather easily. I know like Arch Network has it's like in beta now. They created a swap and an exchange, and you could farm I guess like their token now if you join that Arch Network. Do like a couple of missions per day, you get on the leaderboard or whatever. Maybe you get eligible for like some kind of drop. But like their swap is pretty smooth right now.
Runes to the moons.
Ross, is he there? Oh, there he is. Ross, what else have you been looking at? Besides, I guess, virtuals, some NFTs. Like, what else are you looking into?
Yeah, so the blinders have been up. We have really been focusing on some AI stuff. So I got a couple of projects that I want to tell you about. I want to tell the listeners about. Um, but yeah, I get like super worked up and hyped about this. So let me give you the short list. Feel free to interject anytime with questions or comments if you're in the projects as well. But let me pull up. I'll start over on virtuals. And virtuals has just been having like a fucking week today. And I mean an entire week in just the span of one day, given how some of these prices are looking. Um, but yeah, I've been buying just like a ton of the virtuals token. There's a really good dip earlier in the week. They went from like $3 to $2.10. Um, so virtuals right now is at about, I want to say, closing in on a $3 billion market cap. I genuinely think 10 billion is like easily obtainable. I think 20 billion might literally be in the cards for next year. And I'm usually not a moon boy over many things. But just understanding that it's on the base ecosystem and we're just seeing so much VC money pour into crypto, like I think Coinbase partnerships are going to be through the roof, and I think AI investments are just going to be through the roof. So Virtual's ecosystem as a whole, such a good bet. And like for people who are listening in, who are usually hearing us talk about ordinals and runes, you get the slower ecosystem plays, right? Like it's a lot more slow moving. So if that's kind of your speed, just go right over to virtuals and start poking around. It's so dope because like there's only one or two new projects a day, and that's like literally there's really not a lot to keep an eye out on. It goes so much slower pace than Solana. So like if you're just looking to do some casual research, dip your toes in the water, and they've really been building such a solid ecosystem, making partnerships with large data projects, really big crypto companies that just are specialized in data and transaction management. So like I really am just so bullish on virtual. So just as a plug for the entire ecosystem, if you're looking for a similar kind of vibe for early ordinals last year where it was just slow pickings and the top projects were 50 to 100 x's, that exact same opportunity is going on right now to virtual. So if you haven't done it yet, get over there and start poking around.
So Ross, so I own some virtuals. I own some AI BT, Sequoia, Polytrader, and Luna. Is there anything else I should be looking at?
Dude, absolutely. There is a lot of stuff. So I'll just go down the list and I'll like talk about some of them. Um, Game, it's on an absolute tear today. The price charts look like they're all zeroed out for the most part right now on virtuals.
Whatever you think looks good. Very good.
And Mr. Mike, I think you got a hot
Ooh,
mic
hot
there.
mic.
Come on.
Oop, you got a hot mic there. We're hearing your walk with Sadie in real time. All right. Hopefully it doesn't say anything too crazy there. But yeah, the top virtual on virtuals is Game. Game is so sick. Oh, let me see. Jins, are you able to mute Mike's mic? There we go. Thank you, sir. So let me actually just share my screen here for those who want to follow along because I'm just such a visual guy. So I'm going to share my screen here. Nothing crazy. You can follow along if you just want to pull up app.virtuals, but feel free to join the stream if you want to check it out. I'll just kind of scroll down and talk about some projects here. So top project is Game. Game is so sick. It's basically like, can you put AI agents into video games? And this is the whole like core processor for virtuals. So I've talked about this before, but just to give a high level 30,000 foot overview, you have AI agents, which I'm sure you've all seen by now, the like, accounts on Twitter that chat about market action or maybe trading bots. So just think of an AI bot, that's your agent. And then the step further from that is AI swarms, where you have multiple agents interacting with each other. So this game right here, this first one, it's a framework that enables agents to interact within virtual worlds. So basically, Roblox or Minecraft, any one of these like open world games, you can have AI agents be characters in the games and they'll interact with each other. So someone using this game framework rebuilt Westworld, the TV show, and they have like each character is its own AI agent, and they're in Westworld, basically, playing out the plot of Westworld. So I thought just that project, that sub project, is really cool. But you can think of Game as like the OS of virtuals. So like Apple has iOS, virtuals has Game. So in terms of just an infrastructure play, Game is dope. I mean, it's up like 800% in the last 3 weeks. So definitely cautious on your entry there, but Game is sick. Luna is more of like an influencer type deal. So if you click on her price chart, it'll pop up. I'm not sure if this is actually going to share the screen on the side, but let's see. So you can see here. Can you see this, WAF? This little like live stream that's just popping up right now?
Yeah, I could see it.
Heck yeah. So yeah, you can see she's sort of like an AI influencer. This isn't like my exact kind of deal. But some people are going to like that and that's going to appeal to them. So this isn't my like exact cup of tea, but Luna is one of the flagship projects from virtuals. And I definitely think this type of AI is appealing to a lot of other people. So you could definitely get into Luna. It has run a lot. So again, cautious with the entry. Convo is one of those agents that's going to be pretty instrumental in the game framework. It basically talks to other AI agents and help them, with their grammar and their syntax and just how to have deeper conversations. Um, I could just go on about like all of these because they're all really good projects, but let me give you a couple that I think are like undervalued right now. And everything I'm about to shill, I am in on, but I only bought it because like I believe in it. So, feel free to do the research. I could talk about pretty much every project on virtuals because again, there's only like a few a day, so it's not that difficult to familiarize yourself with every project, and a lot of these are just awesome. But I'm personally focusing on like the mid cap level right now, just because I think that's the highest risk reward. Like I absolutely love AIXBT. I think it's just one of the coolest agents that exists, and I think it's going to be huge and already is huge. But like if I buy right now, I'm expecting a 2x, and I'm looking for like a 5 to 10x. So I'm going to get to that mid cap range. And let me catch my breath. I just get so worked up over agents so quickly, dude. It's crazy.
Breathe, dude, breathe.
Ugh, I needed it. All right, so Acolyte is a pretty cool project. What I like about Acolyte is that it has a team of like bona fide founders from other projects. And for all of these projects on virtuals, I would recommend looking up their ticker symbol on Twitter and just seeing if you can find the devs behind them. But the high level overview of Acolyte is that it's trying to explain virtual agents to the average person. So like there's so many projects that are coming out that just have like a high technicality to them where it's interacting with BitTensor or data lakes or just like these high level concepts that I personally don't understand and I'm sure, other degens out there don't know the full grasp of what they do. So Acolyte is supposed to look into projects, give you a trust score, give you a TLDR of like here's what it actually does and just put it into simple terms. The main thing is this that the dev team is super cracked. Like almost all of the founders have 50K thousand followers on Twitter and have been involved in various NFT projects. So it's on an absolute godly tear this week. But I think it's a really good project at $8 million market cap. A lot of room for upside.
I like it. Sounds
Moving
good.
on, Loki is like high key my biggest virtuals bet right now. So Loki is building a platform that is very similar to AIXBT, and they just made a partnership with this company called The Graph. The Graph is like a huge crypto data conglomerate. They've been collecting all of this on-chain data for years. It is again a bona fide dev team. They have been shipping updates like crazy on this thing. At 4 mil, it is so undervalued. IMO, just crazy mispriced. I think this thing easily is going to be at $10 million. They have a token gated platform coming out pretty soon. It's again very similar to AIXBT, but I think at 4 million it is just like dirt cheap. So I've been buying the shit out of it. Again, candidly, I own a lot, but I just buy it because I think it's a great opportunity. Let me breathe some more. And then I talked about this on Wake and Jake, but Degenerate Squid I have been accumulating. It's a bit of a slow burn because they're overcoming a lot of FUD, but SQD, their parent company, is a data lake, and they have, I think, the most on chain data available out of like any crypto data source. So the potential future of what they can do and the like takeaways of what their bot is going to be able to come to is going to be crazy. Their project is basically going to be a bets trader. So like similar to Polytrader, which is going to be something trading on chain. They use like consensus trade data to make giant trades. The way this works is that they found out that like usually the consensus picks for let's say like a sports game are what actually the probable outcome is. So they're going to make these giant trades with people who fund the project, and then everyone who owns Squid will get the proceeds of those profits. So it's just a fancy trading bot, but they have a fuck ton of powerful data. That is the last project I want to talk about, but just get over to virtuals is the big takeaway. Hop on in there, start deep diving. It's just ordinals running it back. It's a brand new game, but the ROI is just so massive.
So I bought into virtuals probably like a month ago, and I've noticed my portfolio is up. I haven't really paid too much attention to it. Um, game I just added to. Actually, I just added some game. That looks pretty good to me, and I'm gonna keep my eye out on some of these other low caps you mentioned here. Acolyte and Loki and Degenerate Squid. I'm gonna look into those after the show. It looks like I'm gonna have to deploy some ETH into my into the base network here. I do think AI agents are gonna be very useful in the future. I think they're gonna like pretty much do everything for us, right? You're gonna tell them, hey, trade based on these, go out there, trade on these parameters and whatever the case may be. I think it is the future, and might as well get in on it early before everybody's in on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I feel about it. I'm continuing to remind myself to breathe because I just get so excited. Yeah, definitely just be on the lookout for an entry there into Game WAF. I know you said you bought some, but it is like an absolute historic ripper for it today. Just the whole virtuals ecosystem. And something to note for people buying in is that all of the agents are priced in virtual. So buying the token is awesome because any agent that takes off is going to require people to buy more virtual. So like it's just a two found effect where if virtual goes up, your agent will go up. If your agent does well and a lot of people buy it, exactly what happened with AI XBT, then virtual at the same time will go up. So I just love the ecosystem as a whole. I think it's a great bet to be buying dips into. Had some great opportunities over this past week to buy dips. But yeah, I'm like knee deep in virtuals, have such a big position in a few projects over there. So just absolutely love it. And continue to think that AI agents are going to be the big theme in 2025. I just can't emphasize that enough. I think again, just comparing it to early ordinals that we had a year ago, people were early, and it took like a whole year for people to catch on to that. I think we're just so early over on the AI agent play that I'm just going to be nonstop talking about it any chance I can get.
Now, Ross, is there anything like these AI agents, like the virtual token and app, that are not on base or anywhere else, or is it only kind of on base? Doesn't like Solana have some similar version to this as well?
Yeah, there absolutely are. So the actual framework, and I see Chelsea asked a similar question. Well, slightly different. I'll get to that in 1 second. Um, so to your question on other chains, Solana definitely has some stuff that's similar. So AI 16Z is a big framework over there. It's less, um, I would say, app specific. So like the way I describe it, it's all of the agents on virtuals are backed in virtuals. So it really forms this really nice contained ecosystem. With AI 16Z, they obviously run the ELIZA framework. Maybe not obviously, but they've made an ELIZA framework. That's just the name that they give for their agent framework. So if you wanted to spin up your own AI agent leveraging their technology, it would be on ELIZA. But you can spin up your own agent and it would still be backed by Solana. It wouldn't be backed by the AI 16Z token. So it's a little bit different in that sense, but AI 16Z definitely is like a big infrastructure play just on that underlying technology. Similarly, Cerebro, it is its own project where Cerebro is the bot, but they've now launched Zerapi, which is like the framework used to build that bot is now open source and you can build that on Python. And then one play that I'm like super bullish on and just have been buying the crap out of the dip is ARC. It's ARC. ARC, I had a chance to talk to the builders during their AMA like a week ago. Again, just a bona fide team of devs. They're just super smart. I was really impressed just hearing them talk. They're very even keeled and just like you can tell they're genuinely building stuff. They have this thing called Rig, which is a framework they launched about a year and a half ago. And on Rig, you're going to be able to launch LLM enabled applications on Solana. So basically, applications that leverage AI on Solana. And what's really smart about this, and this hasn't been like launched yet, but this is what they're currently building up to, is all of those projects are going to be backed by the ARC token. So exactly similar to virtuals, where you have that relationship of all of the tokens are backed in virtual, all of these tokens are going to be backed in ARC, and they're going to be launching these projects with the ARC token. So by doing that, they're basically building a AI agent ecosystem on Solana. It's currently 160 million market cap. Again, look at virtuals, it's at 3 bill. This is on Solana. So I've been just going ham on it because like I think it's a really strong potential for a 10 or 20x.
Now, is that ARC ARC or ARK?
It is ARC. It is AI Rig Complex.
Awesome, awesome. And then I got one more question for you, and I don't know if you answered Chelsea's question yet. Actually, why don't you answer Chelsea's question first, and I'll come back to you.
How hard is it for people to make tokens on virtuals? I don't think it's very hard to make a basic token, but there is a lot of fine tuning to make a legitimate agent. One of the things about the ARC framework that I just mentioned is that they are like launching a handshake program. So the handshake program is like in order for you to have your token backed by ARC, they need to actually approve it and get vetted by the team. So that means that there's just going to be a much higher quality of project that we're going to be seeing over on ARC when that happens. On virtual, you can launch it, and it used to be a separate website, but I think I'm still sharing my screen. Maybe not. Let me just share my screen really quickly here to show one more thing. Um, Over on app.virtuals, if you look at the top, there's this sentient agents, and then if you click here, this is prototype agents. So this used to be fun.virtuals, but I think they just got rid of the website and now it's all just done through virtuals. If you click through here, this is basically pump.fun, just for virtual agents. So you can click into these projects and you'll see that they're on a bonding curve. So let's click into this one, I guess. Bye bye. You got the guy wearing gold chains, but you'll see it has ascension progress. So again, this is just the bonding curve of pump fun. So when this reaches 100%, it goes to what is considered sentient. So in terms of actually just launching one of these quote prototypes, I believe it's very simple. I haven't done it personally, but I don't think it takes any effort. And you can use the virtuals basic framework, which just gives you kind of like a very generic bot, nothing special. But then to fine tune it and actually have a bot that does something, I think requires you to be a legitimate dev. But yeah, it doesn't take much to just fire one of these off, but it's not like Pump Fun where there's people just pushing a ton of sentient AI agents every single day. I think there's probably one every 2 days that will become sentient. So it's really not that hard to just camp out on this funnel. You can just go over here, sort by market cap or latest. I mean, I've seen this collection of agents just all the time. This will get saturated with time, but it's like super easy going right now. If you took 3 to 5 days just to go over virtuals, you would know every project.
You see, the difference between that and pump.fun is like at 60K it migrates, whereas it looks here like you need to hit how much, like 1.2 million or something like that.
It's actually not set per project. I'm not sure how they distinguish that, but I've seen a few that graduate at like 600K. But yeah, it's a lot higher than 60K for the most part.
Then I wanted to ask you, isn't there an AI agent that pretty much sells its own artwork and then like it's literally generating revenue for itself just by selling its artwork?
Yeah, there's a few of those that have done that now. I think Cerebro is probably the one that you're thinking of. That's the one that just launched Zerapi. But yeah, that was that collection that got to be like 10 to 12 soul at one point floor and was really popular. It's still really popular, but that collection just kind of faded off a little bit. But yeah, they raised a lot of money selling its own artwork. There's a few others on Solana and Virtuals that have also done that concept. So I'd say at this point, to be honest, the space has been moving away from AI influencers. So, like the concept of an AI put out this tweet, an AI launched this song, an AI made this art. That's probably not as novel as it was a couple weeks ago. I think now people are looking for more thought out applications. I definitely think people are still speculating on infrastructure, but like the big winners today were Game and Convo, and both of those play a really instrumental part in the virtuals ecosystem, again, where it's like basically an operating system in a fine tuning model. So like it's not just sort of a chatbot on Twitter, it's something that is, playing a hand in every agent that comes out in the virtuals. So I would definitely say if you're looking for like safer agent plays, I would look for stuff that's very prolific. I would look for stuff that's really like broad scope in what it interacts with, but anything that actually works could get a bet. You might find this one interesting, Laugh. There was one that really got a lot of steam yesterday called Scout. The ticker is just all caps Scout, and it was like 16 for 20 for its sport picks over the last 2 days. And the first day it launched, it went 10 for 10 for football picks. So like if you parlayed a grand, I think you would have made like 100K off of its picks. But yeah, it's just an AI agent that like basically helps you make sports bets. So I was surprised to see the market cap get as high as it did. It peaked out at around like 30 mil. But that one, was just showing like it actually had a use case and did something beyond just like post random tweets all day.
Very, very interesting space, man. And I think getting in on early on this stuff is definitely worth it. Keep an eye on it. Ross, thanks for that massive breakdown. That was awesome.
Dude, it was definitely a breakdown in more ways than one.
I feel like an expert now.
I appreciate it, dude. Thanks for always providing the stage for it. I gotta just learn to breathe, dude, for real. I just get like I've just talked to so many people about how I think this is like what it's all been building up to. And I mean, I really just hope everyone who's listening to this call goes over to virtuals tonight and just does a deep dive or at some point this week. Cause like it's I love the slow paced grind of it. Like that's what I love so much about Ordinals is that it wasn't just like, okay, the project's here and now it's rugged. It's like, cool, it's puppets and we have a few days to look at them and we can trade and just take it nice and slow. Like that's my favorite style of trading. So it's just so brand new and easy. And compared to Solana, Virtuals is just a walk in the park. It's just a nice leisurely stroll. So there's a lot of stuff to just check out over there. And if you click around, you'll find something that's cool and, just explore.
Yeah, love it, man. I bought my bags passively about a month ago, and they're all up, and I haven't really paid too much attention to it, so that's positive. And now I'm just gonna take a little bit of a more like proactive role in virtuals and see if I could like uncover some gems like the way you have. So definitely gonna be looking at it. With this holiday time and just being off, I'm gonna take a little deep dive into it. Pretty much dedicate some time every day to look into virtuals. I think it's definitely an area you could get in early. I think, and we always want to be early.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, anything else top of mind for the holiday seasons? We definitely talked about a lot of stuff here, and I'm glad we did a broad market and talked about everything going on. But anything else going on?
No, I would say we're at the end of the show pretty much. We always like to end with some predictions, right? And every once in a while we throw in some bonus predictions. I think I have some candidates for some bonus predictions. But first, what do you got for Bitcoin on 12/30 next week?
Oh man, dude, that's like the toughest date because it's right before the new year. 12:30. I'm gonna say 97K, and then I think we will have a new all-time high for Bitcoin by January 10th.
I like it. I like it. It's to your point, it's very tough because it's gonna be Christmas. We're gonna pump, or we just gonna wait till the new year? I do think we're gonna wait till the new year, honestly. So I'm gonna say we hold pretty steady, and we'll be right where we're at right now, about 95,000.
All right. And what do you think we'll see a new all-time high in January?
Uh, I do think we'll see an all-time high in January. Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's like I mean, the big boys are here to play now. Like that's the thing, right? Is that you got banks and institutions. Like as much as I would love to buy this narrative of oh, like the FOMC's here, we're at resistance. I looked at like the fear and index meter. We went from extreme greed to now we're in neutral, just based off of this fear over the past couple of months. Like, again, just looking at Sailor and him top blasting at 100K, do you think he just like doesn't have any more money and isn't going to be buying here as well? I think there's just so much like pent up demand from institutions wanting to buy this thing that you know I don't know how they're going to suppress the price much lower than this and that much longer. Anything is possible, so we definitely could liquidate and go lower. But I just think as soon as the Jets come back and we go to 100K, people are going to be like, shit, I missed it. I need to go now, and then we're just going to launch.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like once January hits, are we running like a 100-meter dash, or are we running a 5K? Because I think like we might come out the gates like smoking hot, and we might start running, and it really might be like that, that post halving year, like bonanza mania that we typically get, or is it like more of a slow burn and we kind of rise a little bit? I want to say more controlled and more orderly into some part of the new year for like a really large high. I'm not sure of yet. They could go either way, but regardless, I think the arrow is pointing up.
Yeah, completely agree, dude. Completely agree. Well, all right,
All right,
Waf.
all right, one more.
Go
I want
ahead.
to throw a bonus one at you. We got the virtuals protocol. We did a deep dive into it. It's sitting at
boy.
$3.03 right now, up 30% today. What do you have virtual at for its for a price next week?
I'm gonna go with 340.
Whoa, let's go. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna keep trending, dude. I mean, it was at $2.09, I think, 3 days ago, and it's already back. So yeah, people are hungry for it.
I mean, it's kind of flat over the week, but over the 2 week period, it's up pretty much 100%. So I guess it has some aggressive pullbacks that you could, buy the dip on too.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like it went from 50 cents straight to $3.20. The pullback this week was really just off that FOMC news. Like that's where it just as soon as that came out, virtuals just went straight down to like I think the low was right around $2. Um, but yeah, I mean it's back to where it was pre slip off. So I mean, who knows? It was just straight up until then. I would say there's probably going to be some dips along the way, but the prior to the FOMC, the dips were like 10 cents. It really wasn't much. So I think it's just one of those long term plays where we're going to look back on this a year from now, and it's going to be some crazy valuation. It's going to just be obvious in hindsight. And again, you all know my bag bias. I'm a huge virtuals believer and buyer, so it's there. But I believe in it. So we'll see what happens.
Love to hear it, man. All right, so I guess on that note, Ross, you enjoy your holidays, and we'll be back on Monday next week.
Sounds good, Waf. Happy holidays, sir. Enjoy and
Thank you.
be safe, everybody.
Peace.